Hi friends, it's Monday, December 29th, 2014. Lynn, Donna, and Jamie here. We have taken a 2-week hiatus from videoing. We had a family emergency, and we are picking up the videoing efforts again, but we are not committing to daily videoing. This takes a huge amount of time, and our work continues in the multiple dimensions all day long, every day. The question is what format we use for the work, and so we're going to be doing some more videoing to share with you, but we're not committing to daily videoing. We finished our 6-month assignment of videoing, and now we're going to see how it goes following the 6-month assignment. As always, we have the intention for this session today to do what is ours to do in all dimensions, to trigger the awakening right now, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. And with that, it begins. Stretching longer, we have plenty of energy. It's just a question of redeploying it, and so we tend to shrink down when we get fearful. When we all get fearful all the time, every day, scary stuff happens all the time, and so we shrink down. We can shrink in instead of down. Just shrink in, keeping the length. Just shrink in, and we can be an atom's diameter and millions of miles long. We have plenty of energy. Think of an airplane with a thread that comes down from it. There you go. How may we be of service right now to trigger the awakening right now? This woman is here who we were working with this morning, a very high dimension being who has been supervising this project perhaps for some time. And she saw some things occurring last night where beings who are very high up in the hierarchy were doing unhelpful things, messing with her project, circumventing her project. And she took it to her supervisor basically and said, look. And her supervisor shut down the energy of a bunch of products and then took it to his boss, who took it to his boss, took it to his boss, because self-reporting is a better way to go about things. And these things were happening in their departments. And so they're saying, look, this was going on in my department, and I found out about it, and here's what I did about it. But this was going on in my department, and I want you to hear it from me and not from someone else.
That's true.
So she says that there's a tribunal, if I get that word right, tribunal going on, and that it can be very helpful to hear voices from something like the little people, but it just means people in bodies, because there are stories going on upstairs about what it is like for the little people during this time of intense need. There's an intense need for action. I think it's confusing for the little people. I think the little people want to know, where's God in all of this? Where's God in all of this?
Where is God?
Where is God in all of this?
Where is God in all of this?
Where is God in all of this?
Here comes one of the like manager level people that we saw this morning, and he's saying it's a good question, and that it depends on how you define it, and that all of this was supposed to work together as a oneness, to be God, quote unquote, to support the little people, they're calling us the little people, in their quest for a good life, and that they are coming to see that the system hasn't worked, and maybe hasn't worked for a long time, and that some changes are needed. Some pretty significant changes are needed, and that they don't know really what to do about it right now. They don't know what to do about it.
There's feelings of hopelessness and helplessness.
This is something that is very heartbreaking to these people. They have been told other things. They see how there are too many layers in between them and the little people, that at first it was thought that having more layers of support would be helpful, and they've been heading in that direction for so long. It's kind of like Western medicine. You know, there's specialists who work on only the retinas of eyes. Not only do you not go to your doctor, you don't go to an eye doctor, you have to go to a retina specialist. And it's that way upstairs. There's too much specialization and too many layers, and there's a realization that's beginning to occur at the very highest levels that this is not working. It's not working, and we need to get rid of all these extra layers and maybe just have one layer of support and physical dimension, and that's it. Get rid of all these other layers of support. They're not working. They're not support. As it turns out, what's happening is that people get out of bodies as soon as they're no longer required to be in bodies. They declare it done, and then they continue to make the same mistakes that they were making in bodies.
So what is it as part of the little people? What is it that we can do in these bodies ourselves, physically?
Yes.
In a physical dimension.
Right. Those are different questions. How would you break it down?
Well, those are different questions between what can we do and what can we do in the physical dimension. Because the physical dimension is only one dimension of many, 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 many. So what can we do is a much bigger question.
So for incarnates, how can we go about trying to live our soul plan? That is really the point of life. The point of life is to live our soul plan. Whether we're in a body or out of a body makes no difference. We still are committed to a soul plan. And so at any point in time, the question becomes how best to support myself in living my own soul plan. We are unfortunately coming to see that the responsibility is with us more than we thought it was to live our own soul plan, that the onus is on us. There is less support than we thought to live our soul plan, because the support system, it's like teachers who have been teaching for so long that they haven't practiced the subject matter and they've forgotten it. So they're not effective teachers anymore. They're telling us theoretical things that don't work. The onus is on us. So we know certain things, basic self-care things, level 1 things. Exercise. Eat right. Don't put junk food in our minds any more than we would put junk food in our bodies. Live in ways that inspire hope and joy. Live in connection with the natural world as much as possible. Live in accordance with our philosophies as much as possible. Don't say one thing and do another. So many people are just lying their way through life, saying one thing and doing another, and this creates dissonance in their soul, disharmony in their soul, and their souls run away. So these basics are always there for all of us, no matter what dimension we're operating inside of. Self-care is always going to be our own responsibility. The point is that we can all take care of our energy bodies and our physical bodies, and we can work with our choices. Learning to work with fear is perhaps the most important thing we can do for ourselves, because for the most part it's fear that stops us. We allow fear to stop us. Fear arises and we allow it to stop us. Those are two separate events. Fear arising is an event, and that's just going to happen, and there's very little we can do about that. Fear is going to arise, but we don't have to have it stop us. Hello, my old friend Fear. Thank you for being such a loyal companion. Watch me do it anyway. You don't get to say for me, Fear. I get to say for me. So learning to work with fear, learning that action cures fear, can help us take the self-care actions that we need to take. It begins with truth. If we aren't interested in discovering what's true about a situation, then we're trapped in it. We're helpless to progress. And this world, and as it turns out, many of the non-physical worlds as well, don't really have an interest in what's true. It's heartbreaking, actually.
That almost seems unbelievable.
Yes. I've been really, really, really slow to come around the corner on that one, and I'm that guy, that big guy who's speaking. I've been really slow to come around the corner on that one. I wanted to believe that surely our people up here were interested in what's true, but some of the documentation that's come across my desk this last day has proven that to be untrue.
I'm thinking everything that some things that I have learned, basic things that I have learned, I still can do. I still can do myself. First of all, taking responsibility for myself physically, which you just talked about, yes?
Yes.
Then that's physical dimension work. That still works. Then we work energetically on our
energy body.
With a good intention of pulsing a vortex, I'm still pulsing a vortex. Somewhat.
It depends if you're actually doing it or if you're expecting for it to happen for you. If you're actually doing it yourself, like stirring the energy, sweeping the floor, putting some oomph into it, doing it yourself, it's happening.
Yes.
If you're saying, do it for me, and you've run out of grace, the odds are good nothing's happening and it's a fantasy. It just takes selfless, courageous action on behalf of the greater good, and you generate grace like that. Grace is easy. Grace is easy to generate. Do something for the greater good. Selfless action. And if you take selfless, courageous action on behalf of the greater good, boy, it happens fast. Do something that's scary, that doesn't benefit you, that's only for the greater good. Being out of grace is a situation that can be resolved really in minutes, at any moment, just by being willing to do something for the greater good. It doesn't benefit you. It takes a little bit of courage. That can get you going. And then we circle back around. I'm seeing a pencil point, circle back around. So circling back around to the underlying truths. We're all spiritual beings. Here in the physical dimension, we particularly are having a human experience. Our souls have a plan for our lives before we're born. We know there are going to be challenges, but we expect to win. Then we're born and it's harder than we thought it was going to be. We begin to play small in the game of life. Our lives begin to not work. But we all have our soul contract. By living our soul contract, things work for us. It doesn't mean it always is going to work. It doesn't mean other people will say yes. Other people might say no.
It's true.
But our role is to live life from the perspective of the soul, and joy comes when we live life from the perspective of the soul.
So if someone is not experiencing any joy in the physical life, they're not anywhere near living their soul plan. Is that what you're saying?
Every person is unique, and every situation is unique, and generalities are dangerous.
Sure.
I think we can take it as our working theory that very few people are living their soul plan. You can stand at the gates when people are passing over, back out of physical and into non-physical, and there's a little express lane for people who are in single digits of how far off their plan they are. A, B, C, D, E, 26. Are they even on plan Z?
Sure.
That's the express lane. People who are even within plan Z. There's plan A, and then plan B, and then plan C. Everybody else it looks like the New Jersey Turnpike toll booths.
Right.
They're hundreds of plans down from their plan A. People aren't living their
Right.
soul plan. They aren't doing it. That's the whole problem. That's the whole problem. People aren't doing it.
So then what I see in front of me, even though people look joyful, it's a big fat lie. They're not joyful, since most people are not living their soul plan.
Who do you think looks joyful?
People. Right. That's a good question. Who looks joyful? That's a good question.
Most
Who looks joyful?
people have troubles even using that word, joy. Almost no one uses that word.
That's true.
We use it here in our community, but almost no one else uses that word. They use the word fun instead of joy. Fun is not the same as joy. Entirely different vibration.
Or happy. They use
Happy.
happy.
They use happy. Almost everyone is settling for. And they're trying to make the best of it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, making the best of what life hands us is important.
That's true.
But let's not abdicate responsibility for our own lives.